Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? I hope you are enjoying the best of health. I welcome you in my class, that is English for grade 3. We are learning unit 14. Its title is Helping at Home. My dear fellow teachers, this lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation and worksheet links are given. You may click it, download it, follow it as it is or modify it for your convenience. I'm going to deliver my lecture according to this lesson plan. Yes, my dear students, today we are going writing elements of a story. So let's learn how to write a story. Before this, in unit 3, we have practiced how to retell a story. So better the way we retell the story, likewise we can write a story. This is we are going to learn. So our SLO is to identify the basic elements of a story as beginning, middle and end, characters, place and time. Write a guided story using these elements. Now first we'll understand these elements and then we'll learn how to write a guided story by using these elements. These are our today's SLOs. Let's start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah mentions in Quran Surah Al-Zalzala verse 1 till 8. When the earth is shaken with its final earthquake, and when the earth throws out its burdens, and man will say, what is the matter with it? That day it will declare its information because your Lord has inspired it. That day mankind will proceed in scattered groups that they may be shown their deeds. So whosoever does good equal to the weight of an atom or a small ant shall see it, and whosoever does evil equal to the weight of an atom or small ant shall see it. Allahu Akbar. Yes, my dear students, what this surah is telling us. This is Surah Al-Zalzala, verse 1 till 8. Beta, this is a story of the day of judgment, how things will happen. First of all, there will be an earthquake and the earth will be shaken so hardly, then everything from it come out. This is how step by step things will be happening. So every day we should tell to ourselves, this day is must to come. That's why whatever we are doing, even it's equal to weight of an atom, is important. Our every word, it's good, we'll be getting good against it. And if unfortunately it's bad, it will be written. So beta, we should be very mindful. Don't even do a small little wrong things, because everything will be written in our deeds book. So this verse, this surah is giving us the message that we should be doing little small. So there is no small deed. Every deed is important. That's why we should do good things every day, right? Now let's analyze this surah. You see how things have been mentioned one by one in sequence. First this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen. So whenever we are telling something or we are writing something, you see, beta, Quran teaches us everything. How to narrate things, how to tell things gradually. Okay, what will happen first? It should be written or told first, then next, then next, then next. This is how we tell a story. Okay, so first you tell me, what do you know about characters in a story, and how does a story begin or end? Pause the video, answer these questions to your teacher, and then come back. Yes, my dear students, I hope you remember once we have discussed about characters. So whoever comes in the story is a character, okay? And it can be a person, it can be an animal, it can be an animated person who does not really exist, just an imaginary. So beta, when we are telling or writing a story, whoever comes in the story is a character, right? Remember? And story, we start it from the beginning. Like this is how we start a story. This is the beginning. And then we keep on telling the things and finally we close it. That makes the story to end. Okay. So when we talk about characters, As I told you, it can be an animal. You know this character, very famous Disney character. Yes, Mickey Mouse. It can be a real person, and it can be an imaginary person, which actually does not exist, and we just assumed a character. This is how we set characters of a story. Next is setting. We make the, like, where this character will be, because when we are telling a story, we make everything for reader to think. Like, they have to think in their brain what is happening. So we have to tell the time and place, what was the time and where this Mickey Mouse was going. So if we are telling a story about Mickey Mouse, we have to tell the time and place as setting. So whoever the character, to describe to like where the character is, we have to tell the time and place. Then comes the sequencing. What does sequencing mean? Because we have to tell, as I told you, first what happened, next. So we have to tell the sequence. First it happened, next, and lastly this. So the first thing we start with is called beginning. Then whatever we are telling, it's middle, and where we stop, we conclude our story. That is end of the story. So we have to tell the things in sequence. And what the problem? So there must be, when we tell a story, what was the problem the character was struggling with, and what was the solution, and what we learned from that story. These all are the things while telling or writing a story we have to keep in mind. Okay, so by keeping these things in our mind, let's, for example, how we make a story. So this was an amazing day, and Mickey Mouse was very excited for a concert he was going to, right? Now we have introduced the character. Though he was excited, but he was little puzzled what he will do. Now this is the problem. What should he do to make the audience inspired with his activity? So he planned a few very interesting stage items, and he presented these items on stage. Everyone laughed and applauded him. Everyone was pleased with his performance, and finally he made the concert successful, and he was very happy. So we learned from this little story that whatever problem comes, when we think about it, we plan for it, we do our best, we get best results. Simple. This is how better I'm telling you a small story. This is how we make a story. Just by standing over here, I'm just making this story for you, right? This is how we think in our brain, and we keep making the connection of the things, and we keep making the story. Are you clear? Okay, don't worry. We are going to practice it. Are you ready for that? So first, let's see what does your book say about it. Elements of story. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning tells us about the characters, time, and place. The middle part gives us the detail about problems of the characters, and the ending shows the conclusion, means where do you closing the story of the story, the problem is resolved here, right? This is how we write a story. For example, let's practice it through an activity. Look at this. I brought a sample story for you. So your teacher will share or read some stories in text form with students, and students will first recognize and highlight and share the elements of those stories, like what was the time, place, characters, beginning, middle, and the end of story. First, you will share with your teacher about all the elements from the story. So teacher, I just brought a small story for a reference, for an example for you. You can follow the same. You can bring your own story, make the students to learn to identify all the elements. Then we'll practice it from the book. So pause the video, enjoy this beautiful activity. All of you should participate, because all of you are going to write story after this. So learn it properly, and when you are done with this activity, kindly come back. Yes, my dear students, are you done with it? So did you enjoy this activity? Now you yourself, you can recognize all the elements. Good job. Now let's practice it from your book. All of you, open your book on page number 121. This is a story written here, and what you are going to do, the following story is based on Allama Iqbal's poem. Read it carefully and put the story in order. So it is not in order. What should come at first, maybe it's given at the end. So you have to read it, arrange it, and give the story a title and write a moral for it. Okay, so you have to give the title to this story and moral. And teachers, kindly let students think from their own brain. Whatever title they decide, so it should not be a typical whatever they think, so you should consider them, and if it is relevant, we can accept it. Okay, so make them to be creative and do this task on their own. So pause the video, complete this task, and then come back. Yes, my dear students, are you done with it? Good. My children are smart. Okay, now you understand what the story is. So it's time for your homework. You will write your own story with proper beginning, middle, and end. Choose your characters and setting, give it a title. So you are going to write a small story of your own. Okay, and here is a worksheet. My dear fellow teachers, this worksheet, lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation links are given. You may click it, download it, and kindly provide a printed worksheet to students for practice. So what we have learned, we learned to identify the basic elements of a story, beginning, middle, and end, characters, place and time, and we learned to write a guided story using these elements. Are we done with it? Yes. So that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll come again with a very interesting lesson. Till that time, keep learning, keep practicing. Take very good care of yourself. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.